In today's episode, we're going to cover the characteristics of toxic leaders. These are attributes that you absolutely have to avoid on your path to becoming a great leader. So what are some of the warning signs? And if you're an employee, what are some of those key characteristics of toxic leaders that you need to investigate to ensure that if you are joining an organization, you join the right organization for you with the right level of leadership? There's a common belief that so many of our leaders today possess the attributes of toxic leaders, and of course many are psychopaths. You hear it around the water cooler, you hear it in the hallways, and of course you hear it over lunch. But get a load of this. Researchers in Australia identified that between 1/5 and 1/4 of all CEOs are defined psychopaths. This is the same percentage of psychopaths that you'll find in jail. So this number is really, really scary. So what are some of these attributes of toxic leaders, of these psychopaths, that you absolutely have to make sure you identify, whether you are that leader on your way up to greatness, or whether you are an employee within an organization trying to figure out whether you want to be a part of a company that has a leader who is a defined toxic leader. So the first characteristic to identify is that they are autocratic. Now, you've seen some of my videos in the past. I had a video on the my way or the highway leader, and that's exactly what an autocratic leader is all about. They want to have, and they want to be surrounded by yes men and yes women, and it is their my way or the highway attitude. The second is that they are manipulative. They manipulate customers, their environment, employees, and even the board in order to be able to achieve what they think is right. The third attribute is that they are narcissistic. They are not able to check their ego at the door. I once asked one of the world's leading CEOs whether he believed ego had any place in the boardroom, and his response was plain and simple: absolutely not. The fourth attribute is that they are intimidating. They will take whatever steps necessary, whether they are physical or verbal, to abuse you on the way to achieving, again, what they think is right for the organization. The next is that they are overly competitive. Not in a great way, not in the sense that they are aggressive and wanting to be able to wrap themselves with a team with the sole purpose of achieving great objectives. They're competitive because they ultimately want to be able to take others' work and representatives as their own as they try and impress others around them on their way up the corporate ladder. And the last attribute is that they are discriminatory. They will make decisions based on bias. And this is something you absolutely have to watch out for, because it does taint their position. It does affect the direction of an organization based on bias and discrimination. As a leader, what do you do in order to be able to make sure you avoid these characteristics? Of course, if you're a defined psychopath, that's probably pretty hard. But if you aren't, but you find yourself on this path of negativity, it's really important to just take stock. Understand your characteristics and your personality. Write them down. Take the opportunity to work with a mentor and a coach to really look within and identify whether you're on this path of negativity or whether you are on the path to being a great leader, because you possess amazing skills. Now, of course, if you are an employee and you're contemplating a new opportunity or new job, it's super important as well to make sure that you're researching the organization to identify whether the leader at the top is a psychopath or has these toxic leadership tendencies. You can often use Glassdoor as an indicator there. I would also recommend talking to employees, ex-employees who've worked for that organization to test and trial whether the culture that leaders establish is the right culture for you. I've personally made some mistakes in the past where I didn't do the research necessary in order to be able to identify the culture of the organization I was going to be joining, nor did I really investigate the attributes of the individual with whom I was going to be working. I actually ended up working for a leader who was both a psychopath and had all of these toxic tendencies, but I didn't do my research. So I do recommend, again, take the time, look into the organization, use the assets that are available to you in order to avoid working for a toxic leader. If this topic has resonated with you, and I'm not going to say that you've liked it because we've been talking about toxic leadership, Make sure you like, comment, and share below, and of course, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm Gregory Wade, you're watching The Defender. Let's dismantle toxic leadership while we're building great leaders one leader at a time.